like and subscribe to the channel, and maybe no one will get hurt. Not including my mom. What's some of the worst sex you've ever had? NSFW. When I lost my virginity. I was so nervous my dick went soft like 30 seconds in, and I tried to hide it by going down on her. I unfortunately was not aware of how oral sex worked yet either, so I just stuck my tongue in the hole, and she was like, "That's not how you do it." Good times. Preacher's daughter kept telling me "hurt me pagan boy" over and over again while she laid there and refused to do anything. Oh, I got one. During my first one night stand, I made a throwaway joke about handcuffs. This, naturally, led to her breaking into convulsing sobs and going into a gut-wrenching 20-minute tale about how her stepfather would tie her up and molest her. Ended up reading her favorite children's books until she peacefully fell asleep. I had a Red Bull earlier, was young, dumb and nervous, and didn't want to get too tired, so I then just played Angry Birds next to her until 4 AM. And that's the story of my first one night stand. Went to her place, she put SpongeBob on in the background and wanted me to do her on the couch. I couldn't stay hard because of SpongeBob's laugh, and when I asked to turn it off she said "It's stay on or you leave." I left edit. No, I was not feeling her, Mr. Krabs. All these anal stories brought back a funny story. I'm living in Biloxi, Mississippi in the Air Force in the early 2000s. My girlfriend at the time, super cute, athletic, red-haired Irish girl with a great ass from years of playing soccer. This girl loved anal, first person I ever met that would ask for it and be totally sober. We are fucking on my bed doggy style. She reaches between her legs, pulls my dick out of her pussy, and slams into me, balls deep into her ass. All is going well. After a couple minutes I can't take it anymore and blow everything into her butt. She turns around and says she has to fart and doesn't know what to do. I can see the look on her face. She's panicking and all I can think of is that I just washed my comforter. I cup my hands behind her, but as she lets out the gnarliest, wettest fart I've ever heard, and blows shit and cum all over my hands, legs, and worst of all, my clean comforter. I loved that comforter. In college, I briefly dated a Japanese exchange student. She was really cute and affectionate. She always had these giant emotes of excitement about regular things. Hanging on my arm as I'd show her stuff around town. She'd draw hearts on my arms when she got bored of studying. Often she packed me snacks or neat bento lunch. She was really sweet. In the sack she just laid there and squeaked. In doggy style, she'd just plop FDAU and squeaked into the mattress. I'd assume this is what it was like to fuck a rubber ducky, paging/you/fucks with ducks, when I asked her what she liked, and she'd blush and not even look at me. I'm already conducting a full exploratory mission into her, and she wouldn't communicate what she did or did not like. It was awful. I picked a girl up at a pub after she told me I looked gay. I told her I'm not, and I'd prove it to her. She mentions a couple times that I looked like the American Idol singer Scotty McCreery. I had no idea who that was and didn't care. Her place wasn't far from the pub, so we set off walking. She kept stopping me mid-stride to attack my face with hers. It was sloppy and not at all attractive. When we get to her place she tells me to put on some music while she goes to freshen up. I open up her iTunes and call out to her asking if she has any RHCP. She shrieks and says they are her favorite band. I find them, and she only has 5 songs by them, 3 of which are Scar Tissue. I create a playlist and put it on repeat. She comes in and we get right to it. I don't have a condom with me, idiot, so she insists that I fuck her in the ass. I oblige and after a few minutes, she reaches under her bed and pulls out a cowboy hat. She puts it on me and then says, "Sing to me, Scotty." I didn't know what to do, so I just kept fucking her. Kept the hat on, but didn't sing. Finished up, went to the toilet, and cleaned my cock. Walked back to her bedroom to hear Scar Tissue playing again for the millionth time, and gathered my things and left. Never saw her again. TL, doctor, met a girl at a pub. She lied to me about her taste in music. I fucked her in the ass while wearing a cowboy hat and did not sing to her. My good friend, who I have been in love with for half of my life or so. The stars finally aligned. We were both single, both feeling it, and after a late night out, it was clear it was on. We head to his room, and he turns into a shitty porn star. Oh, you like that, you slut, don't you? Take it, ye. Yeah. Yeah, you whore, and smashing like he was trying to bounce me off the bed. I was horrified. Like, dude, I know you. Your mother and I send you selfies when I visit her shop. I've been to your grandma's. That is how people talk in porn, not in real life. My crush was over before he was. This just happened recently. I hadn't had bad sex until then. Met the guy on Tinder and we have a bunch in common, so I agreed to smoke with him at his apartment one evening. We are really hitting it off, no awkward silences, constant conversation, all that good stuff. When we went to have sex, he waited about 30 to 45 seconds before completely pulling my pants down and shirt off. Then he takes not one, but 2 fingers, and just starts jabbing them up there over and over again. No preheating of the oven, nothing. Like, I guess this is what he considered foreplay. He pulls them out and leaves a bloody handprint on my thigh, and I'm just like, dude, you made me bleed. And he just apologizes and moves on. He finished pretty quick too, so he goes to get a new condom so we can keep going. It's taking too long, and I'm not enjoying any of it, so I just kind of lay there hoping it'll be over soon. And then he looks like he's starting to get tired, so I use that as my out and tell him if he's tired we can stop, so we do. He pulls out and the condom's gone. I have to go into the bathroom and try to fish this rogue condom out of my bloody mess of a vagina. My friends all say I should have left after the bad fingering, and I probably should. I do still like hanging out with this guy though, since we have so much in common, and he's super chill, so I simply told him that I'm going to have to teach him some stuff, because if we are ever going to have sex again, what he did that night is not going to fly ever again. A girl who was a friend of a friend's girlfriend. She was hands down the most attractive sexual partner I've had. The sex was the worst. She did very loud, very fake, very exaggerated moaning that didn't even sync up with my thrusting. She was also super self-conscious, so while she would take off her skirt and panties, she would never take off her shirt. She would just pull it down so her boobs came out but always kept her tummy covered. I eventually got her fully nude once and couldn't figure out why she was so uncomfortable with it. She also said she loved giving head and turned out to be really bad at it. Teeth. Also, she thought her being on top meant just sitting on top of me with my dick in her and then me doing all the work to 10ths. That being said, options were limited at the time. There was a girl I'd see occasionally when we were both single. Hot. Blonde. Runner physique. She was amazing. We'd have a fling, go our separate ways, date a person, sleep around, and always find each other again and show off our newly discovered sexual interests. One such startling discovery for her was doggy style. Something she had always opposed. We're in the middle of getting down to it when she up off me, pulls down her tiny purple booty shorts, and faces away from me on all fours. It's immaculate. Every part of her. I'm eager, too eager. So I decided to take my time, get up behind her, breath in her ear, kiss my way down each and every vertebrae, down to that perfectly chiseled ass, and as I kiss my way down further, she farts directly in my eye. She cries, I try and tell her it's okay. She scurries away faster, still on all fours, still farting, and leaves. Never saw her again. Got a horrible case of pinky, missed 2 days of work, and still haven't heard from her. So that was kind of bad. Started out fairly fine. Me, petite, and a slightly taller than me, but really skinny guy. He and I had been making out. We'd been in various states of undress. He touched my body, done some mouth work over my hips and thighs, etc. It wasn't amazing, but it was nice. Turns out he'd taken his underwear off while his face was at my hips. He suddenly held my legs and, without a word, pinned them back, with my knees to around my armpits and my ankles at my ears. I'm just reacting to this with surprise when I see his body revealed. His dick looks the length of a wooden school ruler. Or something to measure sea depth with. And he just swiftly pushes it all into me with only slight pause every 2 inches, or whatever, to snug each bit down. It didn't hurt as such, but it was a kind of, holy shit, feel your body adjusting to being filled with no gaps in one slow push. Just as I started to mentally have a grounding, he withdraws about a third of it, and then is all back in again. He did this about 3 times, and then moaned really loudly when all the way in, and what feels like a cup full of semen just pours in me. Then he relaxed, looked happy, and sex was all over. Luckily, I was on the pill, but, shit, that went from 1,000 in 12 seconds. Girl I dated when I first moved to New York City. We dated a while, and then things got hot and heavy. We started having sex. About midway through she orgasms and starts crying. Being concerned, I stopped and asked if she was okay. She goes on to a sob story about how she's only been with one guy, and that our sex was so intense that she just loves me so much. Then she passes out from crying so much. So here I am, still inside an unconscious girl who just admitted she loved me after 3 dates. Stone cold sober, mind you, at least I hope she was. Killed my sex drive right then and there. I woke her up and drove her home. I didn't talk to her afterwards. During my first one night stand I went home with a girl who was passing through town. She was cute but trashy. She started full on making out with me at this bar like no one else was there. I was 21 at the time and thought it was awesome. I now realize it was not. We ended up going back to her hotel and hooking up everywhere in the room. Should have been hot, but she made no noise. It was like fucking a doll. Then when we were on the bed she bit me so hard it broke the skin and scratched my back really bad. I stupidly stayed there that night, and all night all I could think was maybe I just sucked that much in the sack that she had to bite and scratch me. She then extended her stay in town and creeped on me for 3 days. Worst idea ever. Slept with a guy, and while we were fucking I angled my head up to try and kiss him. He came to an absolute dead stop and asked, "What are you doing?" in the most horrified voice. Mood effectively flatlined. "I'll kiss you?" He looked at me in the most condescending way I could ever hope to be seen and said, "That's for before sex." Okay. Then he complained that I had killed his boner, so I got up and got dressed and left. Runner up, the guy who licked my face and asked, "Isn't this sexy? Isn't this so hot? Isn't this just so amazing?" the entire time. Sexy things are way less sexy the more you ask someone if they're sexy. Also runner up, the guy who thought that if he lay on top of me while in me and shook himself really fast, he'd be a human vibrator. Spoiler, he was not. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel.